Folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a particular sort of business website. I guess it focuses on women in business, or pretends to, and then as part of that wider story, a woman that I met as part of a wider meeting some months ago, who was relieving for like a maternity leave thing. She was only in the job for a few months or something like that. She was like a marketing director or whatever you call it. Wholly unimpressive, and I thought unqualified. But my jaw dropped yesterday when it's been press released by quite a substantial business, and she's been appointed as the CEO now. The role pays, 600,000 plus, and this is someone who, even if you looked at it generously, is maybe worth 60 or 70,000. So getting paid about 10 times what in a competitive job market, I believe at least she'd be worth, but and doesn't have the background to back it up. So just talking about that. So in this business website, again, that's very strongly supportive of globalist issues and women's issues and climate change, all that sort of stuff. The stories there, you look at, say, bots, and coming back to Elon Musk's concern about how many bots may or may not exist on the Twitter platform, and how much of the traffic and the likes and all those sort of things is bot generated. Well, this website, if a woman comes on, or a man comes on and says, I'm transitioning to be a woman, so the transgender thing, within seconds there are just hundreds upon hundreds of likes. There's this avalanche of comments from about every NGO and government department dedicated to trans issues, to just, wow, bang, straight. I mean, I can't believe they could even type that quick. So, again, all the likes, all the approvals, you go girl, and stunning and brave, and this sort of stuff. So any of those sort of issues, things that have been totally and thoroughly and 110% debunked, like the gender pay gap and that sort of stuff. There's some lesbian gender studies academic comes out, says the gender pay gap's real, and women are paid 1 cent per hour for every $100,000 million that men are paid. An absolute, utterly absurd thing. And again, within seconds of that lobbing onto the and being headlined as a headline story, there are just hundreds of likes. People coming in, it's true, and we have to look after the girls coming on. Men must be Hitler, and or every imaginable sort of slogan and phrase comes out there. So clearly it's mostly, if not 100%, bot driven. The stories are being specifically chosen to push globalist issues, and the approvals and the likes and the comments are either bot-driven or pre-prepared to sort of all come out at once with a trigger. There's no way that many people could be reading these things at the same time and all be able to respond at the same time with something of equal length in terms of the text. And so clearly it's coordinated and scripted and so on. So, but they do celebrate very loudly, if not raucously, that when a woman is appointed as a CEO of anything, it doesn't matter what, and particularly if the woman's like a lesbian or not white, then it's just a double or triple excitement gets ginned up on that. But if I look at sort of any of these, the issue to me is I don't care if a qualified person, whoever it is getting appointed as a CEO. It makes no difference to me. And the more competent the person is, then the better the business will do. The more profit they make, the more tax they pay. That tax goes into hospitals and things like that. So that's good. And if the business does well, then that creates more jobs, and that's good. So I celebrate a competent CEO, but this is not what's happening. And if I put all these CEOs that are, and the numbers increasing, if I put all these CEOs up on a dartboard, and just threw darts randomly, even with my eyes closed, no matter which one I land on, once I start looking at their career history and their qualifications, credentials, then every time, not just sometimes, every time, they're obviously either totally unqualified, or it's very clear that they were selected from the bottom level of the people who could have applied. So what that means is that these CEOs are being appointed when there would have been thousands, tens of thousands of people better qualified, most of whom would have been straight white males. But even putting that aside for 1 minute, that the fact remains, in order to get the affirmative action hire, they're hiring from amongst the least qualified of the people who would have put their hand up for the job. And it's hard to imagine some of these people applying. I just don't believe they applied. I think that the affirmative action ideological sort of machine went out and got them. So look, we guarantee you this job, even though you're not qualified and all that sort of thing. So yeah, and here's one. They came back to the beginning. I was at a meeting where there was a bunch of people there, and one of the folks there was this relief marketing manager type person, and she's about 5'2" tall, 155 centimeters. Certainly not in good shape at all, and the business she had like a business suit skirt thing on, and the stitching was straining under her, too many Big Macs or something there, but too many burgers. But she's nothing to look at. So whatever career she was managing to make for herself, I can't imagine in a million years it would be pleasuring the boss type thing. So, but she was unexceptional in every respect. Clearly out of her depth and all that sort of stuff, but I just dismissed it as being okay. Well, they just grabbed the first person they could to do the maternity leave thing, so who cares? And it didn't really affect me, nor did I have to deal with it directly anyway. So I kind of put it out of my mind, and then I saw that she's been appointed CEO of this decent sized outfit. On again the pay, I thought the pay maybe would have been crap, but some bit of further digging, and it pays over $600,000 a year, probably maybe 630, 640, somewhere around there. No, I've never made that sort of money, so I went through this woman's background. She's turns 40 sometime soon. I think at the end of this year, so turns 40 years old. Again, unattractive and very much out of shape. I mean, she's certainly and making no effort to be in shape. So she's a professional uni student. She's 11 years at university. So she was like 30 when she finished at university, and then sort of bummed around doing stuff for the NGOs, and which she was doing throughout her university time. Now, anyone who can afford 11 years of university, even at a cheap course, I mean, she'd have, somebody must have been paying that. Otherwise, she'd have well over $500,000 in debt, but student debt. So then she goes to working for. It's just jobs at like takeout food stores, that sort of thing, basic stuff. And she's 3 months here, 4 months there. So she has like 18 jobs in 10 years, 9 years, 18 jobs in 9 years. So she's averaging about 6 months a job. And some of them were 9 months and some are like 5 months. So it's all over the shop, but averaging 6 months a job. So hardly a stellar career, and nor is there any sort of pattern of someone who's making decisions and is delivering results, and so is moving up the executive value chain or something. There's no sign of that, no indication of it. In fact, quite the opposite. It just seems to be, flip-flopping here to there and back again and around and so on. So an unimpressive career history in the extreme. So so she then gets, as I say, appointed CEO of this decent-sized firm on a good income. For certainly for someone like her, it's an exceptional exceptional But and I imagine, from the previous role that she would have had, that it would be an 8 to 10 fold increase in pay. So normally, if you're going to sort of get appointed to a job, it's maybe 1-2 steps tops up from what you were getting. So if somebody's getting, say, 625, for example, 625,000 a year, you would expect their previous job would have been, at least between 400,000 and 500,000 a year, just to be on par with and to suggest a steady progression. So, I mean, she's no Hollywood starlet, so I can't say, well, I was flipping burgers and I was suddenly discovered or something. It's not that sort of fairy tale story, although you'd think so. So anyway, she's got this job, and so if you look at the experience, so I tried to sort of say, all right, does she have any direct experience? Well, she's kind of had 3 months here and then 4 months somewhere else. So at a real stretch, you could kind of say she's got some real indirect experience, but hasn't achieved anything in that time. I don't know how much you can achieve when you're only at a place for 2 months at a role like marketing assistant. I mean, does that qualify you to be CEO? I wouldn't think so, but there you go. So, but that's not unusual. That scenario is not unusual. In fact, it's pretty standard. Sometimes you get just wealthy inherited money socialites. They're on the socialite party circuit, and they turn up as CEOs. Some of them can pull it off in the sense that they're so sophisticated, like, as in socially sophisticated and cultured, and that they've got that confidence of someone who's never ever had to worry about money, and nor will they, and that people who come from that situation have a certain sort of social confidence and manners. Some of them, sometimes their manners are quite exquisite, and there's no vulgarity about them, and they can slip into CEO roles in a sort of a figurehead type thing of people that smile and say the right thing at the right time and have, again, exquisite social skills and good manners and so on. But outside of that, every appointment that you see of these affirmative action women are people that are unqualified. They're, again, from the bottom end of the scale, and it seems to be getting even more widespread than you'd imagine. And clearly, there's a lot of organisations out there that consider it an absolute necessity that they have a woman, preferably non-white, in a CEO's role. Now, in terms of the certainly in Australia, the women that are being appointed as CEOs, maybe a quarter of them are non-white. Maybe not quite that, but around that. But most are straight and white. The NGO set and senior management, say, in universities, those sort of places, there's a good lesbian representation there. But otherwise, it's mostly straight white women that are getting these gigs. So that's my view, at least. So you've been with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for listening.